So, what is your morning routine? Because, as far as I understand, it's pretty much morning where you are.
Yes, actually, it's noon right now, and I normally try to wake up around 7 a.m. I try to, but it happens that I can wake up earlier or later, depending on when I went to sleep. But I try to stick to a specific time just because it gives me more motivation when I set certain goals like this. It gives me more motivation, especially if I have a lot to do. And when I say a lot to do, I'm full with a lot of pages of things to do all the time. And I have to write them down, otherwise it will be a mess. Um, I would say my morning routine starts always with a little bit of cuddles with my dog and then a delicious coffee with some breakfast. Cannot function without morning coffee for sure. I guess that's a little habit slash I don't know, addiction that I
Mm-hmm.
got since I lived in Italy. My entire family moved to Italy when I was 17, so we are talking almost 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I lived there for several years, but I didn't stay. Once I was done with some studies in the university, I decided to go back to Moldova. But the love for coffee stayed with me.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I mean, if it is possible and I have room for it, I do like to exercise a little. However, I am guilty of neglecting this part of my routine as of lately for sure, and I'm gonna try my best to get back into it just because I've taken a lot upon myself as of lately with work and personal life, and I'm just gonna try to slowly prioritize certain things and find time for exercising because I can feel that the day just goes easier and better when you do exercise and move enough. And the best time for that, in my opinion, is the first part of the day. But again, everybody is very different and unique, and I'm not saying that that's the right way. Other than that, yeah, I prefer to knock down all the work in the first part of the day. So often my morning routine includes starting working right away. I have my own vocal studio in the house that I've built thanks to all the fans and followers that supported and helped during the pandemic, during like the big depression that the entire world was going through.
Mm-hmm.
And that gives me the opportunity to literally go and work when I want, how I want, and it's really cool. I really like that I have that now. It was something I always dreamt having, and I do now, and it's really really makes a difference. But yeah, pretty much that's it. My morning routine is completely different on tour. I do try to add more things when I am on tour, but yeah, pretty much that's my morning routine, I would say.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's great. Thanks for the answer. Very inspiring. And I would like to ask about the upcoming release of Devil's Dozen. And first question
Yeah.
is, as far as I remember, this show took place in November 2021. Why
Yeah.
it took so long to release it? I mean, so it was approximately 1 year and a half after this show happened. So now you decided to release it as a DVD.
Well, yes, it's a very easy answer actually. We did not plan initially to have this as a DVD.
Ah,
This was meant to be a online show available only online because of the pandemic we were going through. And we were trying to bring the atmosphere and the energy of a concert to everybody on the planet. And we had this available for 8 days. It wasn't a live stream because we did not want to risk the internet malfunctions or any kind of delays. So we decided to pre-record and pre-film this work on the editing of the image, just because of how big the production was for that specific show. We didn't want to risk having technical problems or technical issues either on our end or people's other side, to see it properly and enjoy it properly. We have some bands in this industry that definitely told us that they did encounter this problem when they were doing their live streams during the pandemic. So we just wanted to basically have the show as a small little recap of 3 years of being together at the time. Now it's going to be 15, but that's why it's called The Devil's Dozen, for the number 13. Yeah, the reason that now we have it in DVD, in fact, it's ready to pre-order. It will come out in literally 2 weeks from now. The reason is the fans. The fans insisted so much to immortalize this moment, and together with the label and everybody else that is on board with Infected Rain, everybody was super supportive and agreed that this has to be, on a physical copy as well. So that's the reason. It's pretty simple, really.
Yeah, okay. So this whole thing was recorded during the pandemic times, during the apocalypse. And how did these times change you as a person and as a creator?
Well, I definitely went through different phases, personally, for sure. It was a really interesting time in my life, actually, that I was going through, and then this happened as well. So I was like, oh no. So I definitely went through waves of, feeling lonely, feeling uncertain, feeling incomplete, because I wasn't sure when I'm going to be able to even work and do what I love the most and travel and, see my bandmates, see my family. It was very hard on me because I don't have relatives here. At the time, I didn't even really have many friends either. However, there there were many beautiful things that happened to my personal life and career during that time, during the pandemic. Really, I met a lot of great people, and some other people that I already knew in the music industry that I kept in touch, became super close friends to me. And some of them even moved from LA here to Vegas, so we were even physically closer. So that gave us the opportunity to become close friends. Besides that, on a professional level, as I mentioned prior, I was able to roll my sleeves and build a vocal studio in my own house with my own hands, really.
Wow.
It was fun and frustrating at the same time because I'm not very good with things like that. But I did it. And obviously the most challenging part was to learn the program of recording. It's very complex program that especially if you're not very good with technology, it takes you way longer to learn. But thanks to my musicians and my producer, I was able to learn at least what it takes for the vocal part, and I'm able now to record myself, even though I'm so far from my musicians and from my producer. I was able to work remotely. I did so many songs. I think last year I did, like, it was my record for the amount of songs I did. But I don't know, I think that this year I'm probably gonna have even more, because yeah, I was able to do a lot of collaborations and featurings besides everything with Infected Rain. So it kept me busy, and I liked that very much. Being able to record myself taught me a lot about patience and about my own vocal capacities and how to be your own critic, which is super hard. Is the hardest part, probably. So yeah, that's pretty much, I guess, it.
Next question is generally about you being a member of Infected Rain and band in general. So you've gone quite a long and glorious way as a musician. And what things appeared to be just as you expected when you started, just maybe as good as you started, and what things appeared to be, let's say, different? I won't call them what things went wrong, but I think you got my point.
Yeah, well, I would say I think the right answer here is I had no idea what to expect.
Ah,
No idea. Um, I guess because I had no clue, and the reason that I had no clue is because I never been in a different band and I didn't have any experience in this um new world of show business, the world of metal music and everything. I was just a metal lover, and I would just listen to metal songs, but as a career I was already pretty set. I was working as a hair and makeup artist, and I thought I'm going to do that forever because I loved it. I still love it a lot. But when I was invited to be part of this project, which in the beginning didn't even have a name, it was just two friends doing music, and I was the third person for a while. And then when it was getting more interesting and more serious, we add more musicians to it. I guess that is why I didn't really have much expectations, or I didn't even know what's going to happen, when, how. I did have dreams though. I knew for sure as soon as I stepped on the stage for the very first time, I knew that, the goal is to play in front of big crowds, big on stages of big festivals, to be able to touch a lot of people's hearts. It's definitely a sensation, a feeling really that it's hard to describe unless you felt it yourself. You won't understand it. I had friends musicians like before I joined the band, and I couldn't even imagine that that's how it is to be on stage and play in front of people and be seen with so many eyes, and some are criticizing, some are loving, some are judging, some are supporting. It's very interesting. The only thing that I wish was a little bit different, like in my specific case, I wish, especially in the first few years of this career with Infected Rain, I wish I had somebody telling me, or I would understand by myself, that I am enough and I should just stick with myself and be myself without trying to buddy. I remember the first years were very hard on me because every single comment, every single opinion of people I took it too serious, like way too serious. And as you know, internet can be pretty cruel,
mhm.
especially for beginner bands. And so, yeah, that was hard on me for sure. Nothing I did or nothing I was good enough for anybody. But eventually I learned that, I had to stop worrying about that eventually. But then, other than that, everything's been a pleasant surprise. Everything's been awesome, you know. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Actually, yeah, my next question was supposed to be connected a little bit, apparently, with your answer. So you are very bright and vivid artist and personality, apparently. So how did you find the bravery to be just so unapologetically yourself?
So, I guess it started a little bit before Infected Rain, really, is when, as a teenager, I started experimenting with different colored hair. And then I would like dress a little weirder and different in school, always got in trouble because of that. And then, as soon as I became a hair and makeup artist, the doors in the fashion industry were open for me. So I could see possibilities and options for how to express yourself and bring out your inner world
Mm-hmm.
connected to how you look, right? So that was probably the first step into it. I wouldn't say that I'm a very confident person. But when it comes to certain decisions I make, especially with my looks, I just embrace them. That's the key for me. I just embrace them, even if I have certain conflict inside and I'm not super confident in certain things. I just embrace it because we are not perfect. It's okay not to be confident about every single thing, you know. But as time passes and I grow older, I just started accepting myself more and more, and I'm just having fun. I'm just having fun being colorful. I'm having fun being me. And I know not a lot of people like that, and maybe not a lot of people like me, which is fine. You know, that's not my goal. I'm not trying to be liked. I'm just trying to be me. And if you like it too, and you like my music and you like my art, awesome. If you don't, also awesome. We are different. We have different taste. You know, I just embraced that, and that helped a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. And now let's move a little bit into a different direction with our conversation. And can you please tell me what's your favorite horror movie and your favorite comedy?
That is very difficult question, because I'm a person that watches so many movies. My favorite genre is horror, for sure. And pinpointing a specific just one movie is hard, just like you would say, choose one favorite song or one favorite band. It's difficult because it depends on my mood. I do have an ultimate, favorite, which is a classic. It's Stanley Kubrick's The Shining. It's a very unique movie for sure. So much art and so much symbolism
Mm-hmm.
put in that movie. I love it. I don't even think it's very terrifying, like visually, when it comes to, like, a lot of killing or a lot of monsters, but mentally it is terrifying because of the family that it's described first in the book with Stephen King, and then in the movie, and the way the father goes crazy, and the abuse, and you know all that is a real terror of our society. And I know it firsthand because I grew up in similar circumstances in my family. So yeah, I would go with that one. When it comes to comedy, I think, let me think, what would be my favorite comedy? Well, hmm, there are so many good ones. I do like all the Seth Rogen's movies. They are very funny.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like those a lot. Yeah, especially like, no, yeah, all of them. All of his movies are awesome. I like his sense of humor. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Let's go back to The Shining a little bit, and it's connected to actually
Yeah.
my next question. Did you like the sequel? I think it can be considered as a sequel with
Yeah.
Evan McGregor. And
Yes.
let's say the second part of my question is, what do you think in general about all those sequels and remakes nowadays? So is it like a
Um,
good or a bad thing?
it depends. It depends. I am very open-minded when it comes to that. I don't necessarily have an opinion where, like, oh, I wish they stopped there because this second part is not that great. Actually, I loved Doctor Sleep. Yes, it wasn't on the same level as The Shining itself, of course not, for many reasons, but it was a very, very awesome movie, and I watched it and rewatched it multiple times. I was super happy to know what happened to Danny later on in life, so yeah, I loved it. And when it comes to sequels or prequels in general, I give them at least one try always. um to be honest with you, I feel like cinematography as of lately has been very high level and very positively, like, surprising. Even with part two or part six, there are some movies where you're like, okay, again, part eight, like, how many more? But but like, for example, the Scream is a slasher that I started like watching thanks to my boyfriend as of recent. And I mean, I've seen the old like one or two a couple of times, but I never was in the loop with the newer ones. And the new one kicked ass. We went to the movie theater to watch it. It was fantastic.
Mm-hmm. The one with Jenna Ortega, yeah? The new one, Scream.
Hmm.
I didn't watch it. So should I?
Yeah, it was good. Even the previous one was good.
Uh-huh. Okay. Just generally not a fan of slashers. I'm more into psychological thrillers. That's why
Me
uh,
too. Me
yeah,
too.
I wanted to ask that.
Yeah, me too. But I was very pleasantly surprised. I was like, okay, I get it. I get the genre.
Mm-hmm.
When you are open-minded and you don't judge, just because, for example, just because I'm not a big fan of slashers, there are still some that I consider iconic that I watched and rewatched with a lot of pleasure. And I understand that the Scream is its entire story and its entire universe. So I wanted to revisit it and be part of it, like at least understand it. So yeah, I mean, there are preferences for sure, but that doesn't mean that they are bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Can you please tell me if we like broaden this topic of sequels and stuff? What do you think as a creator? So, is it more difficult nowadays to create something original, like from scratch, out of nothing? And maybe that's the reason why there are so many things that are like based on something else.
Um, of course, nowadays there's almost nothing uh left to create from scratch. Almost everything was said or done or created before you, either in a movie or in a song or in a book, or just somebody did it in a, I don't know, art form. Definitely people get inspired by their life and their environment, just like I am. Books, movies, people around me, friends, family, everybody inspires me. And somehow I do take those inspirations from moments in life that happen, from some ideas. I write things down, and it will be a lie to say that, oh no, so much more can be done, and it's so easy to be unique. Yes, probably there's so much more that can be done, and probably in certain things you can be the first one. But yes, but at the same time, a lot was done. Now that doesn't mean that your view or your perspective on the same thing cannot be unique
Mm-hmm.
you know so that's my idea. The thing is, like, if you are an artist of whatever type of art, right, I think you just shouldn't worry about being the first one or being unique so much. Just be you.
Mm-hmm.
And because you're going to be you and you're not going to try to be better than someone else or as someone else, that's when you are going to create something unique, because there's nobody like you. Nobody like me, nobody like, you know, your friend. We are unique in our own way. So this is a lesson I've learned from my vocal teacher for sure. Even way before I met her, in her DVDs, she would constantly say, "Do not try to sing like this singer or that singer." She names a couple like big names, right? Just be you, because they are them, and they've done it. There's no need for another one. But
Mm-hmm.
even if somehow you will sound or look or create something similar in your own way, that will make you unique. So yeah, just be you, have fun with your art and create constantly. Just do you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, speaking about art, another Interesting topic I'd like to discuss is artificial intelligence. I know that the abbreviation is
Okay.
AI. I just like how these words sound together. So, AI in art. So,
Yeah.
what do you think? Isn't it too much of it nowadays? And what is the future of artists as people and artificial intelligence as someone creating art?
My opinion, that is another kind of art, because nobody will create anything without you being creative, because you I don't know if you know the way it works. You give the challenge to the artificial intelligence to create your ideas. And I know first hand that a lot of people are hating on it, because I have a lot of friends in a tattoo industry, and they literally divide between tattoo artists that say that this is, fake and shouldn't be there, there's no place for it in the tattoo industry, or vice versa. There's people who are like, oh, this is so much easier to create new ideas and new stencils. Imagine having an infinite source of ideas somewhere, and you just, all you do is you guide that, and then out of that you create something else. Now it all depends how you use it, in my opinion, with everything. I remember when internet just became big. I remember it because I'm that old. And I grew up without internet, and I grew up without a computer. So I remember when people are like, oh, internet is evil, this is so bad for our children, so bad for this, so bad for that. It all depends how you use it. Internet can be your library. Seriously, I used to go to library to take books home, study them, and bring them back. Nowadays you Google everything, you order a book online if you want an actual copy, like I did recently, for a book that I was interested, or all that. So saying that something is bad or good is not that fair. It could be bad or good for you, but for the world in general, it all depends how you use it. Yes, if you abuse internet for, bad things, like when children, all they watch is like some other kids opening gifts, and that makes them want those gifts, and that creates a jealousy type of thing. I don't know. I don't have children, but I heard that's a thing, that's what they do. So I don't know. It's hard to say. In my opinion, that's just an extra tool for you to get inspired from or create something. Come on, baby. Oh, hello. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So basically, that was my last question. I mean, pre-last question. And the last question is, what would be your message for the fans?
Well, I stick with the same message all the time. I just want to say thank you to all the people that love and support everything. I thank everybody that shows up to our shows, everybody that just spreads the word, even just between their family and friends. It means a lot. That's how it works, and that's why we are where we are. So we are infinitely grateful to every single supporter and listener. So keep it up, and yeah, support the people you like, support the artists that speak to you through their art. And yeah, just be you, be kind, and that's awesome.